Hello, my name is Michael Brennan.
And I'm Sam Christopher.
We will be presenting about external pressures, which there are many of. A person is influenced both positively and negatively by family, peers, role models, media, work and school, and culture. This Pecha Kucha, however, will be focusing on peer pressure.
According to the dictionary, peer pressure can be described as a social pressure by members of one's peer group to take a certain action, adopt certain values, or to otherwise conform in order to be accepted. In simpler terms, it means that it's a pressure that other people put on you to act a certain way or do a certain thing.
Peer pressure evolved into the hominid species before we were even Homo sapiens. Even the earliest humans relied on social interactions to survive. Therefore, peer pressure evolved into our species to keep us in line with our peers, and therefore to keep us alive by making us feel pressure to conform to the group.
Peer pressure is not at all bad as it seems. Peer pressure can have many positive influences on people, just as much as the negatives. Despite all this, people still give peer pressure a bad rep. It is associated with unhealthy activities like drugs and alcohol. It can at times feel restricting and stressful.
While peer pressure often does get a bad rep, some of the stuff that people say is true. Peer pressure can get you into bad situations, and that's why it is best to stay away from it at times. In the next few slides, we will be looking more into depth of some of the aspects and examples of negative peer pressure.
Our peers are not always the best role models, but that doesn't stop us from being pressured by them. The first negative effect of peer pressure is unhealthy behavior. This includes drugs, alcohol, tobacco, and unprotected sex. What might seem crazy for you to do and impossible for 1 minute might be just what you're doing the next because of peer pressure.
For example, let's look at Aiden Select. After being convinced to come to a party, he discovered that all of his good friends were drinking alcohol. What would they think about him if he wasn't drinking any alcohol? Would he stand out? So Aiden made the decision to try some beer, and later that night he died of alcohol poisoning.
Another negative effect is unlawful and unfair behavior. People can feel pressured to engage in unlawful activities such as shoplifting or unfair behavior such as bullying and cheating. This behavior often has severe consequences that can affect you for the rest of your life. That's a long time.
Let's take some cues from our made-up friend Timothy. Timothy was brilliant. In fact, he was admitted to all of his top-choice colleges. However, one day, he was with his friends and they started picking on an underclassman. They told Timothy to beat him up, and so he did, but he was caught and all of his college admissions were revoked. He spent the rest of his life as a zoo janitor.
What both of these two examples have in common with Aiden Salick and Timothy is that they were both pressured to become someone else. Because of peer pressure, many people are forced to be someone other than themselves just so that they can fit in. And when you're not yourself, you can't live up to your full potential.
Let's look to Timothy again. Now his true passion was reading and ballet dancing. However, as he aged, he soon realized that those activities were not considered cool. Pressured by his peers, he decided to play football instead, even though he was the worst on the team. In the end, he could not do what he really loved.
Even though peer pressure can have all these negative influences on us, if we make sure to ignore those influences and make good, positive friends, peer pressure can have an opposite effect. If you surround yourself with good role models, peer pressure will generally be a positive force that'll help you in the long run. Get it?
One aspect of positive peer pressure is friendship. Peer pressure, in its very nature, is purposed to strengthen our social bonds with our peers. Peer pressure might push us out of our comfort zone, but it keeps us connected with our friends by making sure we are included, not excluded. Peer pressure is responsible for our friendships.
Let's look at a different person for this example, Miranda. She was scared to death of roller coasters. One day, her friend invited her to go to an amusement park with a group of kids. Although she was reluctant, she eventually was pressured into going. In the end, even though roller coasters were still not her favorite, she had a great time and became friends with everyone who went.
Peer pressure, more often than not, will lead you to try new things out of your normal life. Although daunting, these experiences might actually turn out to be great. It might be a new food, a new activity, or even a new place you haven't been to. Those experiences could turn out to be your new passion in life.
Here's an example of this. Miranda and her friends were in music class. The teacher called out on Miranda to sing a part of the music. She said she'd rather not, but all her peers objected and told her that she had to sing. When she did, instead of everyone laughing at her, she received great feedback. Apparently she was a great singer, so she started her own band.
Peer pressure can influence people to do better things. Friends can directly encourage others to be better through their words. They can also encourage others to be better indirectly using the bandwagon. This can be accomplished by a lot of people being better in some aspect of life, so a person jumps on the bandwagon and strives to be better as well.
That's a lot of betters. Let's look at this example. Taylor was struggling in school, but he had a lot smarter friends. So now his friends were always telling him that he should try harder in school. Taylor didn't like being singled out and belittled by his friends, even though they had only had the best intentions. Taylor then decided to work harder in school, and then he became an A-B student.
While it is clear that peer pressure can be positive and negative, negative peer pressures tend to be the cause of a lot of bad situations, even deaths in the case of Aiden Salick. Allison Bell suggests preventing peer pressure by doing simple things like considering the results of giving in, standing your ground, and even leaving the pressure zone.
Peer pressure has a profound effect on our society. While both positive and negative, it is important to understand the consequences and effects of peer pressure and how your choices will affect you. In the end, the choices that you make may affect you for the rest of your life, so know who your friends are and what they may tell you.